Well, hello there. This is Leif Kerwald at Vibrant Faith. Welcome to the information session on Vibrant Faith University. It's right now at the top of the hour, and but we'll pause for a moment or two. So if you're within earshot, it's time to gather for our session. But we'll begin in about 30 seconds or so to let people gather in. While we're waiting, if you want on your screen to locate the chat icon in your Webinar Jam dashboard, you'll see that I have chatted my contact information and as well as a link to some files that you'll find helpful for our session today. So I can see from my dashboard that we have about 9 people with us today, and so welcome. I see first names: Amy, Cheryl, Julie, Joel, Hannah, Lynn, Molly Nolan, Anne. So welcome. We'll begin in just a moment. There are others who are still coming online, we think. So, but I won't hold you up very long. Oh, okay. I'm seeing in the chat box that the information that I posted is not there. I'm sorry. Let me repost it. Forgive me. Right. I've posted my phone number and email address. I'm assuming you can see that now. And then in the next post, the link to get the PowerPoint slides that I'm going to show today and other helpful files. All right. Okay, let's begin. Again, welcome. My name is Leif Kerwald. I am the Training Services Coordinator at Vibrant Faith. I am also the Dean of Vibrant Faith University, our brand new comprehensive training experience for parish leaders in developing a faith formation ecosystem for the 21st century. Welcome. We're going to spend a half an hour in this session where I want to, number one, share with you some slides that introduce Vibrant Faith University and some of its vision, as well as practical characteristics of how that unfolds for you. And then from those slides, I want to take a peek at our online learning platform that we use. It's called Course Sites. And I just want to show you, give you a snapshot picture of what we invite students to do in 1 week of their work in Vibrant Faith University. And from that, I will spend the rest of our time responding to your comments and your questions. So I'm glad that at least some of you have found the chat box, because that's where you want to type in your comment or your question. And so at any time while I am talking and giving you this introduction, a question comes to mind, type it in the chat box. After our session, I will send you a couple of of links. One is a link to the recording of this webinar, so you'll have access to that. Also, I will send you the same link that I've posted in the chat box that contains files that you can download, the PowerPoint slides that I use, and a couple of other helpful files. The reason I want to share that with you is our experience tells us that the typical Vibrant Faith University student needs to have conversations with several other people, whether at home or at church, before enrolling, and sometimes this information can be helpful in those conversations. All right, so that's where we're going. I want to jump right in and share my slides. So you should be seeing a slide that says Vibrant Faith University. Your commitment lasts 2 years. Your learning lasts a lifetime. Your impact lasts through the generations. If you're not seeing that slide, somebody chat in and let me know that. Okay, from our perspective, and I think from yours too, it's clear that we need a new model of faith formation that is pertinent to the 21st century and based on 21st century assumptions. If you want to focus strictly on Christian education, then the traditional gathered program approach is as good as any. But if you want to move beyond education to formation that leads to transformation, then you'll need to move beyond faith formation as a set of programs to create and nurture a whole culture, an ecosystem of faith formation. And that really is what Vibrant Faith University is about. We deliberately created a long-term training experience, 6 courses over 2 years for the faith formation leader and his or her local team to create the atmosphere for a culture shift from education to faith formation to transformation. More details in just a moment. If you want to focus primarily on the content of Christian faith, well, then the traditional Sunday school classroom remains the best place to do that. But if you believe that in addition to head, there goes heart and hands that must accompany one's faith journey, then in addition to the classroom, you'll create opportunities for faith mentoring, faith socializing, even faith surfing. And by surfing, I don't mean in the ocean, I mean online. One of the key tasks of the faith formation leader of the 21st century is to be a curator of good resources available to people 24/7 online. There's a whole lot of stuff that isn't very good out there, and they will surely find it. We need to find that which is good and curate it for them. And lastly, I'd say if you are content with or haven't noticed the dwindling numbers of and amount of time people are spending on the church campus for worship and faith formation, then the church hall remains your go-to location for activity. But if this trend troubles you, even a little bit, you're beginning to realize that the age-old question of, well, how do we get them to come? That question itself needs to be replaced by one which is much more pertinent, particularly for the 21st century. And that is essentially, how do we go to them? How do we be present to them even when they're not choosing to be present to us? So with these thoughts in mind, we seek at Vibrant Faith University we seek answers to some really big questions. How do we create an authentic culture of faith formation? How do we create opportunities for mentoring, socializing, surfing? What is a network approach to faith formation? And what does that mean? How do we create intentional faith-based relationships and not be manipulative? How do we go to them? So those are our big 30,000-foot questions. And here are the steps that we're taking to dial in on that. First, we've designed Vibrant Faith University and the 6 courses around these characteristics. We believe that these characteristics represent the ecosystem of the 21st century, engaging all generations and intermingling them. So intergenerational aspects are crucial in faith formation. A faith formation ecosystem that nurtures family faith and equips parents to transmit faith at home. A faith formation ecosystem that, yes, addresses the unique needs of age groups, but recognizes that we are a society that is, well, we're a culture of 9 or 10 decades, and that it's not adequate faith formation if we focus only on the first 2 decades. A faith formation ecosystem that develops a missional outreach to the unaffiliated and uninvolved, and a faith formation ecosystem that utilizes online communities and resources and digitally enabled strategies for faith formation. Digitally connected, recognizing the power of the online world as a place, and a place that we need to be present to. And lastly, a faith formation ecosystem that is nurtured by innovative and collaborative leadership. That's you. These are the 6 characteristics of the faith formation ecosystem of the 21st century. So practically speaking, what we have done is developed an online learning model that features self-paced learning through reading, videos, interactive exercises, and homework, but also involves live online learning sessions. In fact, as I speak to you this morning, I'm saying morning because I'm on the West Coast, it's only 10:15. At this moment, John Roberto is doing a live online learning session with our 2nd cohort of Vibrant Faith University students. So about 20 students are learning about a networked approach to faith formation today from John Roberto. But we build in local support. We give you ways to develop a small advisory team around you as you journey through this process. We also give you support from Vibrant Faith and Vibrant Faith University, personal contact with your course instructor. We also provide for you what we call a cohort guide, someone who has experience in this process and makes connections with you. And of course, you get as much contact as you wish with the VFU dean. That's me. And of course, you have interaction with your fellow students. The first 2 cohorts that we have are a fascinating intermix of leaders from across the country, large church, small church, a terrific ecumenical mix. The cohort groups are really terrific. All of the work that you do is in the arena that we call applied learning. So all of the work that you do is immediately applicable to your ministry setting, but at the same time building toward that ecosystem that I mentioned. So yes, this is an online learning experience, but we are committed to surrounding you with personal relational support all along the way. You'll never feel alone. So you might ask, well, all right, so who is Vibrant Faith University for? Really, it's for the person or persons who really care about how faith is being transmitted to the next generation. This is a person who may be paid staff, and we have several, a number of our students who fit that category, and some of whom are even lead pastor in their congregation. But we have just as many folks who are unpaid volunteers who have a passion for faith formation and a responsibility to fulfill that in their congregation. Some of whom have been engaged in this work for a long, long time, and some of whom are brand new to it. So, but these are the people who really care about transmitting faith to the next generation and are willing to exercise their influence to help change the culture in their congregation to meet the needs of 21st century people. The coursework, practically speaking, looks like this. Over a 2-year period, 3 courses each year. Each course is 15 weeks. And during that 15 weeks, most of the work is self-paced, week by week, utilizing course sites. That's the name of the online learning platform that we utilize. And like I said, I'll give you a peek at that in just a moment. But inside each course, we build in 3 live learning sessions where we gather everyone together in an online meeting, a webinar format somewhat like this, only more interactive. We're using a platform called Zoom that actually allows every student to participate verbally and visually, so we see everybody on the screen. It's a terrific platform, and it really is like we really are all together. We do that typically week 3, week 9, and the very last week of the course, week 15. And then, of course, there's required reading and from current research and literature. And I don't think I have a bullet here on the slide, but also each week we ask students to respond to a discussion question so that they are interacting with the course instructor and with each other each week as they go along. All right, so with that, let's take a look at course sites. So now I hope you're seeing the image of course sites. It should say week 11, intergenerational celebrating and praying. What I have on the screen here is an image of week 11 of course number 2. Course number 2 is on intergenerational faith formation, and so I just want to show you what 1 week looks like, and we'll dial in on that to give you the picture. So you can see here on the left-hand column down the line, each week is like a menu or a dashboard to access each week of the course. And so we're on week 11, and that pops up over here on the right, and you'll see 5 items. And at least in our mind, they're numbered 1 through 5 because that's what that's the order in which we would invite you to engage in the steps. First, read. So I click on read, and what comes up before me are sections of chapters in the 2 required books of this course, Generations Together and Intergenerational Christian Formation, as well as a couple of articles. It might look like a lot on screen, but really it only amounts to about 35 pages of reading this week. So we ask you to do the reading first, and then step 2, watch and learn. And what we posted this week is an example of Zion Lutheran Church in Houston, Texas, that is doing some fascinating intergenerational work integrated with their worship on Sunday. So, and so this features their worship experience / learning experience, Holy Trinity Sunday, on May 22nd. This was their worship plan that they put together. And then this is the video that we ask students to watch, and we invite them to learn more about the process at Zion Lutheran. They click down below here, and it takes them to the Growing in Faith Together page at Zion Lutheran. All right. So that's the watch and learn, evaluate and reflect. Students are invited to use a simple one-page worksheet to reflect on how intergenerational and evaluate their worship experience in their church. And that leads to the discussion question or questions this week. I think there's 2 of them. Yeah, one centered around prayer throughout the year and one centered around Sunday worship. So students engage in that conversation, and then they are in a process, weeks 10 through 15 of this course, where they are building some information for themselves on how to engage in their course project, which will be an intergenerational program of some sort. So we have them in step number 5, cook on some ideas and write them in their journal entry. And so that helps them keep track of their ideas. So when it comes to, if you look over here, weeks 14 and 15, they begin working on that assignment. Just one other thing that I want to show you in course sites here. I clicked on week 9, which is the week that we had this week is week 9 for this cohort. And yesterday we had the live online learning session. I clicked on number 3, attend, and I just want to show you inside that is basically it's just the information on how to get connected for our live online learning session. Point is, everything the student needs to journey through Vibrant Faith University is right here in course sites. So, Lynn, I see your note there. Very fuzzy, difficult screen to read, and I understand that. It will show up better on the video, and if you'd like, I can give you access to course sites itself if you want to poke around on that. So, all right, just one last thing that I want to share with you. There they are. I just want to put up on the screen the list of the 6 courses, and so these are the titles of the 6 courses. Year 1, a faith forming congregational culture for the 21st century, intergenerational faith formation, family faith formation. Year 2, age group faith formation, missional faith formation, and leading faith formation in the 21st century. So that's the quick overview. I invite your questions. I want you to know that we will start our next cohort of students in September. September 12th will be that start time. So, so I encourage you to consider enrolling. Let's see here. Oh, I see. I have a slide here that simply has some quotes from current students about Vibrant Faith University. I'd be happy to share more with you about that if you wish. Let me go to this last slide, and I want my contact information there for you. And we have just a few minutes left, and I see that there are some things in the chat box. Molly says you would like to poke around. Then the actual site. Yes, I'd be happy to get you connected. Anyone who wants to take a look and poke around in course sites like I just did, please send me an email with that request, and I'll enroll you in one of the courses as an observer, and you can do exactly that. So yeah, Lynn says she'd like to poke around. So please send me an email. Joel, a question about Rich Melheim and his work. And I am not intimately familiar, but certainly aware of the work that Rich Melheim is doing. And I feel like there's a real nice connection and parallel direction that Rich is going, particularly with intergenerational faith formation. I certainly support that, and I certainly support his efforts to connect home and congregation together through the Faith Five, etc. So, yeah, I would endorse the work that Rich Melheim is up to. Cost, payment schedule, Molly, good question. The cost for Vibrant Faith University for the whole package is $2,000. We ask students to pay year at a time. So if you go on the Vibrant Faith University webpage, that's vibrantfaith/VFU. vibrantfaith.org/VFU. Then what you'll be, and you want to enroll, you'll make a $250 deposit, and then you'll receive an invoice for the remaining first year tuition. That would be $750. And then at the beginning of year 2, you will receive an invoice for your second $1,000 for year 2. So that's the payment structure. We are working on, and we're just about to land, some terrific scholarship monies that will allow students to request a $250 per year reduction in your tuition. So there's a very high likelihood that if you're interested in joining cohort 3 in September, you can request a tuition reduction of up to $500 for the whole process. So keep that in mind. Does VFU have an actual usable definition of faith for this course and process? We have shied away from being definitive about what do we mean by faith, and in fact, that's part of the early part of the discussion that takes place in course 1, and what do we mean by faith? What do we mean by faith formation? So, but what we find is that the journey of faith is anchored in our relationship with God through the risen Christ, but that relationship is certainly nurtured by the faith community. So, yes, there's more I could say about that, but I'll leave it at that as in terms of the key aspect being relational. Julie, good question. When would the next cohort start after the September one? That will be January. The second Monday of January will likely be, well, no, it will be the next cohort. Our process is to start a new cohort every 4 months. And so right now on the VFU website, registration is only available for cohort 3. That's the September cohort, but actually in a couple of weeks I will also create the registration for the following cohort. So Cheryl, question, are the materials that are part of the coursework provided as part of the $2,000? In terms of the book or books that we require for each course, there's 1 or 2 books required for each course. Those are over and above your tuition. You won't spend more than $35, $40 per course on books. There are other resources, yes, all of which are online and all of which are available at no additional cost. So your only other cost besides the tuition is 1 or 2 books per course. All right, so we're at the end of our time. It's been a half an hour, so I'm gonna bring us to a close here. But I'm also I'm going to leave the session up, which means the chat box will still be available for the next 10 minutes or so. So if you have other questions, I'll sit here and respond to them offline via the chat box. And like I said, I will correspond with you. You gave us your email address when you registered for this webinar, so I will send you the link to the recording of today's session, as well as a link to other files that you may find helpful. Please don't hesitate to contact me with your questions at any time. Thank you very much. Good to be with you.